Mr. Womack.
Mr. Captor, do we need to yield to Siri for a question? Just, just
surprise myself all the time.
happens to all of us. Thanks, gentlemen, for your service to our country. I'm going to ask a couple of questions. The first one fits into the category of a good plan executed now is probably better than a perfect plan executed way too late. So this is about, and I realize the level of classification here, so we can't get too far down the weeds, but maybe in general terms, on next generation Navy fighters, you know, the Air Force has moved out on their plan. Navy has not. I'm concerned about the risk associated with delays. And without getting too far down in the weeds, can you help me understand how we mitigate risk and when we might expect a down select on that platform? Because it's you know, if everybody understands that there's a move out date for China on Taiwan of 2027, you know, those are the kinds of things that cause us to have to look at our acquisition process and wonder if we're operating from behind. So I don't know, Mr. Secretary, if you want to take that one, or if the Admiral wants to take it, then I'll come back with an amphib question for General Smith.
I think we're still looking at the force structure of manned, unmanned, and understanding what is the right balance and how do we do that going forward. So we are committed, and I'm committed to making sure we have the ability to fight in the future and meet next generation threats. So that's what we will look to do, and we're still working through that. We're testing a number of unmanned platforms. My own bias is manned and unmanned combined is probably the best, but I'm going to leave it to the experts as we learn more and more. We've learned a lot from Ukraine. We've learned a lot in some of these other conflicts and how we should fight, and I think that needs to inform our posture going forward.
Admiral?
Just a comment on the 6th-gen fighter. You know, I've had the pleasure of briefing this committee on carrier survivability and the Navy composition in the Western Pacific. The 6th-gen fighter is key to air wing of the future. So to me, the carrier is the most survivable airfield we have, period, end stop. The 6th-gen fighter is a keystone of our air wing of the future, which includes, as the Secretary indicated, manned and unmanned aircraft. And that's the beauty of an air wing, is that it can be updated and still be serviced by the aircraft carrier, which is a capital investment, which we're going to have for a long, long time. To me, it is the joint force that is going to win against China. That's the Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, and the Army, and the Space Force. And the Navy brings mobility, which is our chief attribute for you and the chief confounding thing for China. So the carrier is a big piece of that because it brings mass volume fires over and over and over again, where a submarine will have to be reloaded and a destroyer will have to be reloaded, maybe at some place, and take it offline. That carrier's got sustainment power, and the thing that delivers it is a 5th-gen and 6th-gen fighter into the future.
But back to the technologies. I realize that we're deliberating the emerging technologies that will be central into the decision-making process. These doggone technologies are changing like every day, right? I mean, we're learning stuff from the battlefield all the time. And the private sector is doing a fine job of helping understand how these developing technologies are emerging as quickly as they are. So at what point in time will we say, you know, time's up, we've got to move out, we've got to make a decision and go? When does that happen?
I think at the end of the day, look, we need to create more flexibility in our procurement, okay? We need to be able to adapt faster. We're very slow. We're putting ships in the water that are 30% obsolete by the time they get into the water. That's a bad thing, and we need to fix that. So I don't have a specific answer to your question, Congressman. I think we're going to look at that. We are studying each program, line by line, and trying to understand this. I think the companies that currently serve us would tell you, oh, we got to do this immediately. I'm not sure because of the speed at which technology is moving. What we're seeing in advanced manufacturing is changing daily. And so what we will be able to do today versus 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, it's going to take a while. I think this comes back to my earlier comment about what our force posture is going to look like. I think what I found in business is the best way to be successful is not to be reactive. It's to say, where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 10 years? And then work your way backwards to get there. Don't try to work to it, work back from it. And we're still in that process. I don't know if you've got.
I think, Secretary, you covered it, but I just wanted to speak to the operational benefit of a 6th-gen fighter to the joint force. We're going up against a world-class adversary potentially, and we got to have world-class equipment. And for the aviation component of Air Wing in the future, that's a 6th-gen fighter.
Got it. Finally, with the remaining time I have, General Smith, you and I have talked many times about amphibs, and I'm very concerned about the readiness rates that are critical to, you know, your ARGs and what these rates do in terms of adding risk to our ability to deploy. So I'm going to throw you that softball because I know you have some strong feelings about your amphibious fleet.
Well, sir, I'm working closely with my shipmate, Jim Kilby, Admiral Kilby, to bring the readiness rates of amphibs up to where they need to be. We base our amphibious readiness on 80% A sub O, 80% readiness, and the current readiness is in the 40th percentile. So it's got to come up. There's only two solutions, either increase readiness or increase the number of ships, or a combination thereof. But there's a thing called the Optimized Fleet Response Plan, OFRP, that I'm committed to. I know Jim Kilby's committed to. So we are working hard to produce the number of amphibs required to produce a 3.0 ARG-MU. That is one amphibious ready group Marine Expeditionary Unit off the East Coast, one off the West Coast, and the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit out of Okinawa, Japan, episodically deployed. Again, it's the Swiss Army knife of the Joint Force. It can do a whole lot of everything and a lot of combat. It can do humanitarian assistance, disaster relief. It can evacuate embassies, can reassure allies and partners, but it can do combat. It can knock down Houthi drones. It can take out targets in the Red Sea, and it can keep sea lanes of communication open. So we think it's a good investment. And again, it's the Swiss Army knife, but I'm committed to getting those amphibious readiness rates up, and I know Admiral Kilby is as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.